Welcome back. Now let's explore some special features of form fields in React. You know, in JavaScript, validations only happen when we submit the form. But in React, we can validate the input on typing. There are lots of functions we can throw in for that. But we shall be using the onChange feature here to grab our input into our state and rendering what we get in our state to the screen. So let's build an app that's going to generate a training certificate for us by just having to input the non-static details we are going to need into a form input field. Now let's start coding so you understand better. Let's have that, and let's have this, and let's get rid of this state line here. Let's pass in a constructor. Let's pass in a super function here, and let's come here to say this dot state will be set to an object of first name is going to be empty, last name, which is going to be empty, and school. The school is also going to be empty. So let's come into our render method and let's open that up. Let's pass in our div tag, and in our div tag we are going to create a form tag here that's going to collect an input field with a property of placeholder set to first name, and let's pass in a value set to this dot state dot first name. Also, let's pass in the onChange event handler, which will be set to these dots. Let's call this first change, and don't forget the type attribute, which is going to be set to text. Now let's close our input field right there, and let's have another input field here with a placeholder set to last name and the value set to this dot state dot last name, and onChange event listener there set to this dot second change. So let's call that second change, and don't forget the type. Also set the type to text. Let's create another input field here with a placeholder attribute set to school, and the value set to this dot state dot school. And we are going to also pass in the onChange event listener to this dot, let's call this third change, and don't forget the type here, which is going to be set to text also. And let's close that, and let's close this. Now earlier on I said whatever we input in our form fields will be displayed on our screen, and we are going to use that to generate sort of a training certificate for someone. So outside our form tags here, let's create a h1 tag that's going to have a class name because we are going to style that. Let's call this head, and let's say this is to certify that. Let's go to the next line, and let's pass in the h5 tag here with the class name set to first name, and let's pass in this dot state dot first name right there. Let's pass in another h5 tag with a class name set to last name, and we are going to set this to this dot state dot last name. After that, let's pass in a h5 tag again with the class name set to school, and we are going to set this to this dot state dot school, and we are going to pass in a h5 tag again with a class name set to school also, and this is going to be that attended. I think this should be up here. Let's take this up one step. Yes, and that's so. Finally, we are going to pass in a h2 tag with a class name set to head also, and this is going to be has been awarded a diploma in software engineering. So beneath that, let's just pass in a button tag that's going to say print. So after all of this, we all know the next thing to do is to create our methods here, the methods that we have here, which is third change, second change, and first change. And to create those methods, let's bind the methods first. Let's say this dot first change is equal to this dot first change dot bind. Let's bind these methods first in our constructor method, and let's say this dot second change is equal to this dot second change dot bind. This dot third change is equal to this dot third change dot bind. Now we have all our three methods bound to the constructor method. So let's come up here. Let's create the first method, which is the first change. And the first change is going to take an argument of event, and it's going to set states with this dot set states, like so. So we have the first name set to event dot target dot value, and that's it for the first change method. The next method will be the second change method that's going to take an argument of event also, and we are going to set state by saying last name set to event.target.value. And after that, we are going to have our last method still take the event argument, set this to states, to set states, and we are going to have school set to event.target.value. Now let's save that. Let's go over to our server to see what's happening. As you can see, our server is running perfect and fine. Let's head over to our browser to see what's happening there. You can see we have all of this there. So what's going to happen is, let me change that to 2. This is to certify that, not this is TP certify. This is to certify that. So let's go back to our browser and let's make something happen. I should type in my first name now, which is Joseph. my last name, which is Brendan, and my school, which is Migrant Academy. As you can see, whatever I am typing here is displaying here. And this is the power of the controlled component forms of the controlled component form in React. Whatever you type in the input field here is saved to state. So I am using this to display whatever is grabbed and saved in state to my screen. So this is not obtainable using the regular HTML and CSS form method in creating forms. So this is looking too basic for now. Let's just add some CSS to our form to make it look better. So we are going to be using the style sheet method to style our certificates. So let's come over here and go to our index.css file. Let's get rid of this. Let's import a CSS file to our component by coming here to say import index.css. So let's write some CSS for our certificates. Let's grab the head class there and let's set the color to green. You can do better actually. You don't have to style it the way I'm styling it. I'm going to set the text align to center, the margin top to 80 pixels. I'm going to grab the first name now and I'll set the text align to center, the color to orange, and I think that's all for the first name. The last name also, I'm going to grab that, text align, center, and I'll set the color also to orange and the background color to gray. I'll grab the button here and I'll set the margin left of the button to 600 pixels, the margin top to 150 pixels. I'll set the color to white, set the background color to green. I'm going to set this to 60 pixels. Now set the width to 160 pixels, the border radius to 8 pixels, and I'll set border to none. So let's save this. Before we view what's in our browser, let's come up here, let's grab our school class, let's set the text align to center, and let's set the color to orange. Now let's save that. Let's head over to our browser to see what we have. So as you can see, this is what we have. The print button is not actually reacting to our CSS, and that's because we didn't set any class name in our button tag. So to do that, let's come here and say class name, set that to button. Let's save that. Let's go back to our, that's too far away. It's still far away. Let's set that to 200 pixels. So this is it. So if I want to award the certificate to anyone, I'll just come here and type in the person's name like so, and I'll say Migrant Academy, and whatever I'm typing is being displayed. So this is what you can use controlled component forms for. For now, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share.